Michelangelo was once asked how he created the beautiful sculpture David, and his answer was simple. I simply removed everything that wasn't David. And the person that told the story, it was on a Dutch podcast that I listened to a few months back. He elaborated that oftentimes when we are in a pursuit of something, instead of cutting things off, like for example, you want to lose weight, instead of just cutting sugars off your diet, people tend to do more, like signing up for the gym, working out, etc. And I loved it so much. And it helped me also to really focus on, okay, I knew I was going to do this, like put myself out there and show up every day for a whole year of creating content. And it wasn't really content because I don't like the idea of creating content, but the idea of letting myself express in the form of art, that's something that I really loved. And I went back to my core of why that actually is a positive trigger for me. And the other day, and it was on one of my clips about, how I am 40 and I'm starting at YouTube, and if I was too late for that. And I'm sharing so many stories in that episode about all these reasonings of why that never even crossed my mind and how audacious I actually have always been. And someone, which I really appreciate, made a comment saying, like, it seems like you never really had to deal with, outside circumstances, like internally, but also external. And she said, like, sometimes internally it's so heavy that it is hard to really pursue her ambitions. And I felt that. Why I'm starting with the story about Michelangelo is this. It took me a lot of shedding, a lot of, removing what wasn't Ash to get to where I am right now. And all I have is just a few minutes every episode to tell you stories, right? And it is definitely my intention to tell you story by story of how I used whatever seemed daunting or whatever, um, you know, could pull me down. How I use that every time to overcome that, to, you know, accelerate from that, elevate from that. And simply by the fact that that's just my choice. That's just a reason. It's like, no, this is my decision. And to show that that's the power of a decision. Um, but it goes so much deeper than that. And I'm not sure if you ever saw this, but if you go on my main page, there is this like very short video, like a 90-second clip that I created when I started my podcast, The House of Ash. And in those series that I launched last year, the whole idea was sharing all these stories of overcoming to become. And in that little trailer, I basically said like I had to strip myself completely from the titles, from the money, the status, everything. In short, like I had a very successful career. It allowed me to make a lot of money, and I used that money to invest in real estate, which then allowed me to build passive income. Eventually, when I turned 30, I was like, this is not really it for me anymore, and I dropped everything. And then when you look at relationships, same thing. I had a long relationship when I was 18. I had a relationship for 8 years, and when that didn't work out, I really dedicated myself on my own self-love journey because I was like, well, I've been with this guy my entire adult life. I don't have a clue who Ash is. I really want to just understand who I am, how I roll. Um, if anything, I also went through that journey and just decided not to date at all. And I did that for many years. And then also that episode of, starting a family and then very consciously deciding to let that go as well. And become, um, a single mom. And then the fact of, leaving Holland and starting all over in Mexico, far away from family. And I'm very close with my family. And so there's so many episodes in my life where I constantly chose to, like a sculpture, erase everything that I was not. And don't get me wrong, like my family's, it's definitely, they belong to me, but the lifestyle in Holland and even like how I thrive, like I completely thrive here in Mexico. simply because of the fact that I love the sun and it just makes me so freaking happy and joyous. And I just noticed that I'm just a better version of myself when I wake up with the sun shining and the palm trees waving and, being able to open my closet and just have summer clothes in it. It's winter time. Right now it's snowing in the Netherlands and I can wear my flower dress, like, or skirt, like seriously, like, it's like I shape my life based on who I truly am. And that takes refinement and it takes letting go and it takes, sculpturing it. But I truly understand why she made that comment because it seems like it's all easy breezy. And so it is definitely my intention that I will share more of the hardship, um, to show you more of the hero's journey where, we constantly get to decide how we, deal with life. And I'm a crazy empath and meaning I feel deeply. And, I'm going to give you an example. A few months ago, I was traveling and I had to go to Paraguay for business. My son was with me, and it was a long flight because it's a connecting flight through Panama. And since it was for business, I just went in and out. So it was a very fast trip. And by the time we got back in Cancun, um, I am a resident in Mexico. So I have a visa there. And as we were entering the customs area, there is basically a line for Mexicans and there is a line for, people from everywhere from around the world. So like the international part. And the line for Mexicans was completely empty. And I'm like, you know what? We had such a long flight. My little one is tired. I'm just gonna have the audacity to go in that line with a big chance of them sending me back all the way to the other line. But I'm like, but I have to try. And I don't speak the language. I mean, I've been living here for a while now, but my Spanish is not so bueno. But I'm like, mm-mm. And I really had to show up for myself. And the reason I say this is because you would think if you look at me, oh, Ash, oh, she would just do that. No, I also had that moment of, oof, But I'm like, no, I don't mind if she says no. I rarely have the chance of her saying yes, so I'm just gonna do it. And thank God she said yes. Like she asked, like, are you Mexican? I said, no, I'm resident. And she said, okay, come. So, I got lucky and Fico got lucky. My son got lucky. Um, and what actually inspired me was my son because that week there was a BMX guy at the skate park, and it was organized by Figo's skate teacher. And Figo's bike was at his dad's, and we did not have access because his dad wasn't home, and so he couldn't go there with his bike and do some tricks. And so there was this boy who he just went to, and he's like, "Could I borrow your bike for a moment?" And I knew, hell no, that boy's gonna say yes. And that's what happened. He said no. So, but even though the odds were so against him, he still asked. He still went up and he just went for what he wanted. And he just showed me like, oh my God, this is something I forgot. Like I was always a very scared little kid sometimes, and I think it had a lot to do with how I was raised, you know, um, like very careful, very respectful, and definitely not that audacious. But I think I am, I think I naturally am, but I wasn't really that way all the time. And so to see him just do that, it really was an invite for Ash, just go for what you want and just ask it. And I felt so amazing when I did that, when I just stood there and she said yes, and we went and we got even lucky also afterwards because it was a quick trip. I did not have like a huge luggage with me, but you still have the customs and everything. But everything went so smooth, and we had to park the car parked in like a how do you call that? Like I don't know how you call it. I don't even know why I mentioned it, but um the idea of doing that boosted me so much, and it was one of the intentions that I actually have to be more audacious. It was one of the things that I started to do more behind the scenes before showing up here, to train that muscle again, to get more out of that comfort zone, and to be that woman that does it. And that's why it actually seems like I don't have the insecurities and the fear stuff that normal people have. Well, let me tell you, I have that too, but I just refuse to stop. I just refuse to let myself go down. And yeah, and I really hope that she's watching. I don't know her name because he did not have her full name on the comment section, but I really want to share this too. One of the things that I also do is apart from my, like mentally reshape things and reshape things, meaning, give it a new meaning, asking bigger questions than the small questions that people small. I also work with my body, like when I don't know what to create, I start walking, or listen to music and dance, it really helps. But I also do somatics, and it's just a way to, really get in the body. And when I'm frustrated, when something happens that I don't like, and I'm really here in my head, I use somatics to drop in my body, and my body always shows me what's up. She always does. And the freaking gifts that I got out of just starting to do somatics, combined with how I shift my mindset, is has been like this golden combination for me. So long story short, it really, really helped me to cut off that bullshit once and for all, and help me to be like David, to be that sculpture that is just finished, to cut off all the crap that I was carrying and that was keeping me small. And the beauty is also, I've been doing this very relentlessly for years. And when you are so dedicated, you become a master in it, and therefore it's easy for me to spot it with other people. It's so easy for me to see when someone is stuck, when they don't even know what is going on. Like for me, it just takes sometimes minutes to see the noise and to be like, okay, this is the stuff that we can cut off basically. And not so long ago, I met someone here locally who has a store, and it wasn't going well. And I just simply came there for a refund actually, because he had this Christmas event for kids and my son wasn't able to attend last minute. So I went there to pick up my refund, and we ended up just talking and talking. And because he was very open and I could see that I was able to, and I wasn't there with any intention, right? But because he was open, I just was able to completely channel for her exactly what I saw was going on in her business. And she was like looking at me and she was writing it all out on a piece of paper. And and for me, and I even ended up asking her, like, did you pray? Like, did you ask God or anything for guidance? She said yes. And I've been doing my work every day. I'm showing up and I'm doing my little rituals every day and nothing seemed to help. And yeah, I asked God for help. And I said, okay, I believe God works through people. I think he works through people, like he sends people on your path and they just become the angel, right? To help you forward. And I really felt in that moment, because I felt so called to just be there for her, not to help her out of desperation, because I always want to keep people in their power. It's so important for me that they know that they are their own master, but to just nudge them and to tell them like, hey, look at that, And I saw her the other day and she said like even her lover was like, oh my God, something happened to you. Like your posture is different. Like her store is completely cleaned up and she's actually making money now. Um and I gave her a few more tips, obviously. But she said, yeah, there's this woman that just passed by and I got the biggest gift, because she got that clarity and she got out of that noise. And so yeah, if it looks like I am audacious by nature, yeah, I am. And at the same time, I had to cut everything that wasn't me. Um, and I think that's what we all are doing, kind of, or a lot of us. And I think we are all those beautiful sculptures. And at the same time, I'm like, for me, the sculpture is done. Like we are forever students, we're forever learning, etc. But it used to start with this quest of who am I, what am I here for, which made me really completely let go of my foundation. Um, And now it is really more about play. It's like about creation. It's like, okay, I know who I am. It's infinite, you know? And so I just want to create. And part of this too, like, this is for me just to create. And I probably said things that I would have said differently if I really thought things through. But I'm like, no, this is exactly how it's meant to be expressed. And so for the lady that sent me that comment, thank you so much. I appreciate you. Keep on sending them. I've always been a huge fan of Marie Forleo, and she used to have, or she probably still has, a Q&A where people would send her questions about, creating the business and life that you love. And I'm like, yeah, let's do this. If you have any questions, comments, etc., drop it. I will read it. My channel is not as big as Marie Forleo, so I'm probably gonna see it. And if it resonates, I will definitely, use it to give feedback, to guide and give my perspective. Thank you so much for watching. I see you tomorrow. Bye.